Victor, your thoughts on Trump, the comments about Zelensky, about Ukraine allegedly starting the war, which is not, I believe, at all what he meant. If you listen to Trump in context, he's made very clear he knows who started the war. But in any event, you know what the left-wing media is doing right now to him. He's totally capitulated to Putin. He gave up the game before the negotiations started. He should have held back that Ukraine wasn't going to join NATO. J.D. Vance has been saying, everyone knows that. There's no point in pretending that that's still up in the air as a possible negotiation chip. But how do you evaluate what you've seen over the past 2 weeks on Ukraine?
Well, I think you kind of summed it up pretty well. Donald Trump, as you pointed out, knows that Russia crossed the border, and he said that again to make it clear that when he said started the war, he meant something else other than crossing the border. Donald Trump, as we just said, is the only administration which he has reminded us that Putin did not invade a neighbor. So he knows Putin invades neighbors, but he didn't invade under Trump's term. So he's very sensitive to that. What he was trying to do, though, is say a couple of things, Megyn. He was trying to say, this thing has gone on for 3 years. There's probably 1.5 million on both sides dead, wounded, or missing and captured. There's no real change in the pulse of the battlefield. You're no longer the rock star you were of 2022 when you bravely stopped that Kiev attack, but the world is different now. We're 1.5 million casualties from that. All of the European blowhard promises have not been actualized, and you're dependent right now on the 200 to 300 billion that we give you, and yet you're telling us what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and yet you haven't won the war, and we've given you 300 million, and you're not going to win the war. And it's never been the position of any administration, not Obama, not my first one, not Biden, to militarily give you the ability to take back the Crimea and the Donbass. It's not going to happen. So let's not play coy about it. We're not going to lie and say this is a bargaining chip. Second, you're armed to the teeth. You're better armed than any other NATO country right now. You're at the point where Putin regrets what he did. And if we can get him back out to where he started from, you will be able to defend yourself. So now he's saying, essentially, I don't care what people say, you're not going to be in NATO. And you know you're not going to be in NATO. Europe knows you're not going to be in NATO. We know you're not going to be in NATO. And Russia. So why the pretense of saying, well, we're going to negotiate about NATO membership, or we're going to negotiate Crimea and Donbass? Nobody believes that. So what's the only real contention to stop this thing? Can Donald Trump somehow get Vladimir Putin back to where he was on February 23rd or close to it when he invaded? And I guess he's going to say, okay, Vladimir, you can tell everybody that you institutionalized what you already had at Crimea and Donbass. You were able to make sure that Zelensky is not in NATO. You have your new anti-American alliance. Good. And then he can say to Zelensky, you were very heroic. You were like the Finns in World War II. You stopped the Russians. You saved your country. You were never going to get back what you lost in 2014. You may not be in NATO, but you're armed, and we're going to have a concession. And we're not neo-imperialist. We're trying to have a business relationship. It's good for you because you will be able to develop your natural resources. It's good for us because we'll get some compensation, and that will be a tripwire with the Russians. So when they see us and our businesses right in your country, they're going to be a little reluctant to take on a nuclear power and try to invade you again. So this is a deal, and we can stop this bloodshed pretty quickly. And the left pretty much, Megyn, wants to fight to the last Ukrainian, and they really do feel they're going to bleed Russia white, and then all of a sudden it's going to implode, and they're going to get a left-wing Euro country, and that's not going to happen. It didn't happen with the czars.
Victor,
it didn't
have
happen ever.
45 seconds till we got to go, but can you just put in context the way Trump talks?
Yes, he's talks exactly like he did with Panama, Greenland, and Canada. We're going to invade Panama. Oh, okay. China deal canceled. We should buy Greenland. Oh, Denmark's now investing in Greenland and rearming. Oh, Canada, we might make you the 50. Oh, you're spending $1 billion suddenly to patrol your border. So he talks like this and he gets results. And we're back to don't take him literally. Take him, for what it
Seriously.
is, art of the deal. Take him seriously because he gets results, but don't take him literally.
That's exactly right. That's why this freak out over like he's a dictator. Would you calm down? Let's just watch and see what he actually does, and see whether, if, as Caroline Levitt suggested, he might have Ukraine settled this week, which would be really remarkable. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point as the largest generation is hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a big problem. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Well, gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898 and get your free info kit on gold and a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Just text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.